Assalamualaikum, my family. Today, we are going to do another live session. It's the third live session of this batch, new batch, basically, and we are going to work on the strand of letter writing. Yesterday, we have done the feedback, and I have assigned you both the new task of letter writing on the topic. That was museum, right? Can anybody read the question which I have actually given you? The question which I have assigned you was write a letter to your head teacher. Who is going to read? Please just open that up and give a reading. Come on.
Imagine that your school is proposing a program of visit to different museums for all
Hmm.
students in your group.
Hmm.
Your
Oh,
head teacher had asked for your opinion. Write a
all right.
letter to your head. In your letter, you should evaluate the views about museum in bold text.
Hmm.
Give your own give your own views based on what you have read about whether or not a program of visit would be a good idea.
Hmm.
Base your letter on what you have read in bold text, but be careful to use your own words.
Be
Address
careful.
both of the bullets.
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes,
Write
carry on.
about write about 250 to 350 words.
All right. So what did you understand from it, Eamon? Can you please explain me a bit that what is the task assigned to us? What are we going to now do in this task? What are the things which we need to follow? What are the keywords basically? What are the keywords? Actually, we need to see the keywords that first we need to highlight, but what the examiner wants from us, and then we are going to take a look at what are the, you can say, bullet points, the content points, and there are only, two content points which we need to work on. And the strand of writing we have already discovered is the letter writing. Now, Eamon, please explain us a little bit in detail that what is in the task. How are we going to do it? Yes, Eamon, please pitch in and speak up.
Ma'am, I don't know.
Any idea about, letter writing? You just drop your ideas regarding the word, these bullet points, the content points you've read. How are you going to explain? Please just speak up. If I'll say evaluate the views about museums in both texts. So how are you going to, evaluate the views, about museums in both texts? What will be your evaluation? Evaluate. Okay, it's going to be just 1A. How are you going to evaluate? What is going to be your evaluation about, the museums? Have you ever been to any museum? Have you ever visited any museum? Hmm. Acha, okay, if I'll, share the pattern of the letter, you are already familiar with it, that, I've told you that we are going to work from the Cambridge book, which I have introduced you today. And from that book, the, task is basically on page number 151, right? 151, we've got the letter features of letters and emails. And after that, we have, the exact thing on page number 153. So I'm presenting my screen to you to show you the pattern. There is no such pattern in, letter writing in this Cambridge, but the only thing is that we need to focus on a suitable, greeting. All right. If it's an informal letter, a suitable informal greeting, but if it's a formal letter, we need to begin with a formal, greeting. Formal greeting, we are going to mention the name, use the name of the addressee, which whom, we are writing the letter to. And then we're going to explain directly, why I'm writing this letter, in what regard I'm writing this letter. I am going to just show you a little bit, the sample first, so then you can get a better idea that what are we going to, work on. That, let me just, share the pictures which I actually took from in the same group so you can get a better idea. Okay, I'm sharing the pictures in the book, so I'm going to just present my screen. These pictures are a bit tilted. Okay, fine. Let me just. All right, girls. So this is actually, the letter writing which we need to do. Okay, this is actually the sample response of the letter writing task. But what was the type of our letter? Was it formal or informal? How are you going to explain that? Was it formal or informal? Please just tell me. Come on, we were writing the letter to our head. So the type of letter was what? Huh?
Formal.
Formal, because formal letter we are going to write in a serious tone to our heads. All right, so this is going, it's a bit tilted, but this is the actual opening of the letter, that dear Mr. Hussain, so dear headmistress, I am writing in this, I'm writing in regard to the whatever the thing is, or the opening letter, the opening lines should be appropriate. All right, now let's just start writing on OneNote and let's see and explore how are we going to write. Now, girls, I want your maximum response, the points which you have extracted. What you both will do, that you have to tell me those points, so I'll fix your points in between. Otherwise, I will be writing my thing in that. Okay? Otherwise, I won't bother to take your points if you're not going to pitch in and speak inside. You need to speak inside, you need to tell me the points, you have to show me some interaction, then you are going to of course make it better thing of whole 250 to 350 words based on what you have, wait a minute, read. Come on. About whether or not a program of physics should be written. About okay, it's not a program of physics would be a good idea. Now I want your maximum, input in it. Okay, can you see the screen visibly? Can I make the fonts bigger, or that's fine? Making it to 14. Now we're going to start it. Emily, dear, what I'll write in the beginning? Come on, quickly. Come on, tell me. Hurry up.
Dear head,
Dear head mistress. Dear headmistress,
yes,
comma, and then we're going to write, I am, what I am going to write, in the beginning, I'm writing to formally request, what was that trip you are writing, Imagine that your school is proposing a program of visits to different museums for all students in your year group. So it's going to be a field trip, right? Is it going to be a field trip?
yes, miss.
All right, it's going to be a field trip. Now we get to know field trip for our now grade level. Which grade, you are writing for? Which year group for all students in your year group? It means that the examiner wants to know your year group too. So you need to specify things here. I'm writing to formally request a field trip for our grade level. What is going to be the grade level here? You are going to mention that. All right, just sharing this, so you need to fill in into it, girls. Please just whatever 8th class or whatever 9th class or O levels, to where to the, let's suppose we are going to, give the name to the museum, a national, museum. You will be giving this name, a national museum on, then you have to mention, the desired date. Your desired, you need to, I'm sure you both are making the notes with that.
Yes, miss.
Okay. We are currently, please start making notes so then we can have, notes on each strand. I'll try my level best to complete this within this, session. Otherwise, if not, I'm going to share the screenshot first. We are currently studying topic related to the National Museum's collection. You are going to mention here the topic, related. Now your work is to, complete this whole thing, whatsoever I am leaving here. All right, topic related to the National Museum. What is going to be the topic related to National Museum's collection? You're going to tell that why you went there, what is the actual topic, you're going there, and then put a comma, and you will explain a little bit in detail what was in the first text, how are you going to embed things from the text, and a visit to the museum is what? If I'll ask you to explain me or add some lines, would be what? Any lines from both of you, please? Come on, pitch in and let me know any line from your side. Okay, let me see what you both have sent. I'm going to open those points and I'll. So tourists prefer to spend their time exploring museum rather than visiting a gorgeous garden and modern cafe. People find the museum quite boring. While entering in museum, it take long time. Museum come in diverse range and they all are various from each other. Okay. All right. So what have you written, Eamon? Let's see that. What we can embed museums are under a radical altercation. Alteration. Yes, please speak up the line which you have written, Eamon. What was the first line? I'm unable to, read it clearly. Is it the thing which I'm reading? Is it correct? I'm
Ma'am,
unable
just a
to.
minute.
Huh?
Museums are under a radical alteration.
Museums are under a radical alteration. You have extracted it from the text?
Yes, it said museums were under a revolutionary change.
Oh, okay,
So,
fine. So you just, transformed it in your own words. All right. As museums, let's just pick up your line. As museums are under a radical alteration. Okay. So, and then you wrote another point, and that was, alteration because okay. Then you need to write that museums are under, as museums are under radical alteration, these changes are necessary in order to attract more spectators because these changes are necessary in order to attract more spectators, right? So we're going to make the introduction a bit, more catchy, which thus in large sums of money. No, we're going to write like in order to attract more spectators, that is going to be enough. All right. Then we're going to move to the next paragraph. Roman, I want you to just tell me some points from your side too. Let me just see what has Roman done, and I'm going to embed some points from your side. Tourists prefer to spend their time exploring museum rather than visiting gorgeous gardens and modern cafe. Okay, then we're going to directly move towards this thing. Tourists prefer to spend their time, because in every paragraph we're going to give them another story, because this told us to evaluate the views about museums in book text. And first we have given the introduction to them clearly. Now we are going to just move towards the shift of what tourists prefer to spend their time on. So this prefer to spend their time exploring museums, exploring museums rather than visiting gorgeous gardens. So how are you going to, accomplish this whole line? Do you think, I feel like there should be added something in this line, because we told that I'm writing to formally request a field trip for, this class to the National Museum on this date. We are currently studying, and a visit to the museum would be an invaluable learning experience for all the students. As museums are under a radical alteration because these changes are necessary in order to attract more spectators. So we want to explore how wonderfully they have been transformed, right? So we're going to just, tell them, completing that, okay, I wanted to see and explore. We are requesting your head teacher. So you're going to request that we wanted to see that, how they are wonderfully, transformed. Tourists prefer to spend, then you're going to give your own view from the text. We are not going to forget the text. Tourists prefer to spend their time exploring museums rather than visiting gorgeous gardens and modern cafe. This is from the text, modern cafe. All right. People find the museum quite boring while entering a museum. It take long time. Museum come in diverse range. Okay, so in the first, line they said that they feel they prefer to spend their time exploring, and then they abruptly said that they find them these museums boring. Hmm.
Miss, in second paragraph of text say,
Hmm.
it is written that the museums
Okay. All right, so here we are going to, explain this point a little bit more. The tourists prefer to spend their time exploring museums rather than visiting gorgeous garden, modern cafe. Because, we're going to say seeing these artifacts, we will say that seeing these artifacts and exhibits first hand would bring our classroom learning, we need to stick to the point to persuade the head teacher. Classroom learning to life, let's suppose, say that it brings our classroom firsthand, we would bring our classroom learning to life and allow students, let's suppose, to gain a deeper understanding of historical periods, culture, or, whatever concept your teacher is going to or she wants to deliver you in that field trip, you are going to mention that too, right? I just wanted to bring a gap in it, yes. Or the concept which your teacher wants to deliver, right? It's so then there's going to be a full stop, okay? And here we are explaining that point, and then we are going to move to your next point, and that was about you wrote. Let's see what Eamon wrote. Eamon actually have left because she has some urgent piece of work. It has become cardinal for museums to provide up-to-date escapade should be original. Now we're going to, add her point, which I feel like, it's in a structural manner. We are going to tell them and advise them, we need to upgrade the museums. So to upgrade the museums, we're going to begin from this line, Roman, that it has became, she wrote that, let's see, became cardinal. Okay, a good. It's going to be become. It's going to be become. Yes, it's going to be become. It has become cardinal for museums. For museums. Okay. MU. All right. And to provide up to date. To provide up to date escapade. Escapade. Which should be original, right? So this was the point. Any point which you feel like you want to, and let your point enter in it. So what would be that? Any point which you want, I should embed in it. Let me see your points so I can see that, what have you written? You wrote that people find the museums quite boring. Okay, we are not going to write this because of course, yes, they find while entering a museum, it takes long time. Museums come in diverse range and they all are various from each other. Some museum visitors and staff may not have deep understanding of things on display. Exhibits may be fabricated. Popular museums are overcrowded. So now we are going to, make this whole thing in a paragraph. What are we going to do is that, you wrote some of the negative points about the museums because they need to be transformed. All right. So you said that evaluate the views about museums in both texts. Okay. Now your opinion is quite necessary for the, for the head teacher to give. Okay, fine. It has become one of his provide up-to-date escapade, which should be original. Then, however, you will now you're going to use the transition words, and then you'll say, however, people find museums quite. What would be the word we're going to use instead? Boring instead of this word boring. Yes, Roman. Monotonous. Monotonous. Yes. Monotonous. Yes, right. Okay, so however, people find museums quite, monotonous, as it takes long to step in and, enter. We're going to use step in, and they come in diverse range. You wrote right, diverse range, and are various from each other. From each other. Okay, so you are also sharing information, but you are, sharing some points, and sometimes you're going to mention now the one point. Sometimes they are overcrowded, which is, also a negative point about the museums, which don't let people visit that because every person is, there. Sometimes they're overcrowded, and any other thing Okay, fine. Now you have written, some museums take advantage of their captive, audience by charging for gift, or charging a huge amount. I think. And often they charge a huge amount from their visitors, which is also a pessimistic. So when we are writing, a negative word, we need to use this word pessimistic. And when we are writing positive, we need to use that word optimistic. Okay. Optimistic means positive. Pessimistic means negative. I'm going to share a list of vocabulary words as soon as I get the vocabulary word book with me of, the writer which I was referring you. And that's a very beneficial book, Roman. So I'm going to upload the vocabulary list on Google Classroom, and you're going to love, learning those words. All right, so sometimes they're overcrowded and often they charge a huge amount from their visitors, which also leaves. Maybe we're going to, transform this in which also um, leaves a pessimistic, you know, maybe a pessimistic, what effect on the or pessimistic view or pessimistic effect on the visitors, right? All right. Now moving on towards the next. Okay, now see. I am, accomplishing how many words I have done. I couldn't read that, what is the word limit I have accomplished here till now, because I think it's not showing me how much words we are done with. Maybe, these are 100 words we are done with. Now, Roman, your task is to complete this by keeping your, points in view, and by keeping Eamon's point in view, and also, the task which I have sent you. And then please complete this and send me the whole, answer of letter writing. Will you do it, please? Okay, now you just have to complete like almost 250 to 350 words. No? So it's you're going to write like 3 more paragraphs, and then you have to formally end up this one. How are you going to end up? Let me just give a little bit just to you that what is going to be the ending. You are going to write, thank you for taking the time to read these, or maybe you're going to write like thank you for your consideration, or you will be like, because your head teacher has asked for your opinion, and whether or not a program of visits would be a good idea. Okay, now ending. I'm just giving you the ending here. You need to see the ending. Now, 3 paragraphs you are going to fill. Let's suppose if you wanted to do the ending, you're going to write like this. Thank you. Thank you for your, thank you is going to be a gap, for your consideration. Suppose consideration full stop. We eagerly await your response. Why? Because you want the response of your head teacher to make a plan of visit that museum as early as she can, and your Sally, or whatever yours sincerely. Or maybe you can also be eagerly await your response could also be another idea, or another would be I look forward to your response in due course. All right. Now, yours sincerely. Yours sincerely, and named addressee, whom's you're named. You are going to write your name here, and then put a comma. Yours sincerely, whatever your name is in this line. Okay. I'm going to put a comma, and the last would be named addressee, yours sincerely, and then you are going to write your name here. Okay. Your name here. Right? That's optional. This name addressee, you're not going to yours sincerely till here, that's fine. And then you write your name, and here you are going to end up your letter in a proper manner. Okay, you can also take a help from the work which you and Eamon has done already, and you can try to transform the sentences. Now, did you get an idea how to structure the sentences in a proper manner by seeing the keywords above? Because, evaluate the views about museums in both texts. Evaluating the views, we are going to, evaluate. If you want me to complete that task, I'm going to also write the complete thing and write it. But I really want you to, work on it, at least write 3 to 4 paragraphs and show some input. And I am going to, assign this task to Eamon too. She will do it, Manur too. And you all will do it your own thing, but writing these 2 paragraphs, which I've given you. After that, continue this and then send me the task. Okay. Before tomorrow, you have to send me this task, and tomorrow it's the last session of this week, and we are going to, do the feedback session, a detailed feedback session, and then I'll assign you a new strand of writing. Okay. Article we have done, letter writing we have done. Now we are going to move towards the new strand of writing, and we will be keep on practicing that. Right. Okay, thank you so much, Roman. Take care. Allah Hafiz. Ending of the session.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.